Okay, so thank you for coming. Our stand on our project is called Greenprint. Greenprint is about turning the highway assets from waste to value. Basically, it's all the grass clipping that you can collect and turning that into value. We know that currently when we cut the grass, we cut it often, it stays on the road or it stays on the verge. It decomposes and there is a lot of CO2 and other nasties are being emanating. It costs money to cut it and also there is no profit at all. So our objective is to turn that around and try to make something out of this grass clipping. So Live Lab, it's a 3 years program. It's UK wide, 30 million. It's funded by the Department of Transport. It's focused on decarbonization, and there's 7 projects, 4 interconnected them with one of those 7 projects. So Greenprint, as I said before, it's a carbon negative system for model of green infrastructure management. It's a long term, but basically, we want to change the narrative around waste to value from our council estate, whatever is urban grass or rural grass. So our key objectives are completely aligned with the program of ADEPT, which is net zero, ensure an integrated ecosystem approach, knowledge and sharing scalability. That means something that we can share with people and becoming business as usual. Deliver financial saving, collaborate across the sector, ensure customer satisfaction, and increase biodiversity. And we'll explain you a bit more about how we do all of that. So that's our objective. Now, our challenge where we are now. Well, we have a lack of system thinking. So what we do is perhaps not very revolutionary, but when you take each element separately, everybody has tried to do a bit of cut and collect, everybody has tried to reduce the cut, everybody is trying to do a bit of carbon or the anaerobic decomposition. So all of that seems to be, they've been tested all over the country or in other countries too, but no one has been thinking about the full system. It means studying and establishing process within a system and looking at each process and trying to analyze them to make them the most efficient possible. So that's what we're trying to do here. This is basically our green threads. This is our business case. So I'm not going to go into the detail, but you can go to our website. Our business case is there. On the other project, there will also be our link to our business case. But this is our background, what our local challenge are, our input, output, and outcome. Yeah, of course, reducing carbon, biodiversity increase, and reducing cost and becoming business as usual. So I was talking to you about the system. So the system we have here is the grass collecting process system as we would like it to happen. So in order to understand how we can influence cost and carbon saving, we've truncated it into processes, And at each process we want to do research and innovation. That's been looking into the detail of every element that constitutes the process and testing it rigorously and moving on forward. So the first stage basically for us, it's about verge maintenance strategy, environmental impact strategy. That means the best way to save carbon is to reduce the number of cuts. Some local authority cut 5, 8 times. If you reduce that to 2 cuts, well, you reduce the cost and you reduce also the carbon. Okay, but how much is that acceptable politically? It's a very big issue for us. So instead of working on imposing like in some other local authority, imposing something directly for sometimes justified reason, if you don't have the money, you just have to say, well, we do 2 cuts per year and only the safety cut on the highways, and that's it, Now we try to approach that differently, find out the local, the parish who were supportive, the one who were not so supportive. We work with them. We try to elaborate a message that conveys the biodiversity, the element there is of goodness in keeping the the grass a bit longer, thriving. It's better for the biotop in general with species. We also have onboarded plant life, which are specialists in environment and veg, and we're using their veg management system as a guideline for us. But you understand it's something we won't be able to convert straight away. It will take time. It's politically sensitive. So we've got a few years now working on this strategy in order to achieve our objective. This strategy will be ready within a month or two, and it's the first Greenprint document we'll be able to issue to be consulted for people. Then the next stage, oh no, go back. The next stage for us is green estate operation and optimization. This is really the hard labor. This is testing machinery and testing logistic, So same again, in order to be sure that we're using the best machinery, we purchase different lawnmower cut and collect, and we try to operate them in various conditions, putting them on the strengths, and by letting the grass growing a bit more or cutting in weather conditions, What we found out already is none of the lawnmower are designed to operate in this kind of stressful condition. We had problem with all the brand, some very quickly and some a bit later on. But when it's wet, the grass gets stuck. We have jockey wheel falling, we rotary deck. We've been all of that. The good thing is we've been able to talk to the manufacturer and work with them in improving machinery. So when you don't have a voice because you look like a bit isolated, now through this program we call their attention because they know this system is going. For them, they want us to cut the grass as often as possible, use the machine, but we told them no, it's going to change, we're going to reduce the cut, and they will be different. So listen to us, and then you will be perhaps the first one developing a machine which are reliable and we can invest. They're quite expensive as a capital investment, so you need to have a return on the long term, and you want them operational on the day you want to operate. You don't want them broken down in summertime and disappear for 6 weeks, and the grass growing and vegetation is obstructing corner or creating safety risks. We want that operational straight away. Within the same group of operation optimization, we look into the logistic. When we collect the grass, what do we do with the grass? Where we transport it? How we transport it? Is it better to store it? Can it be stored for a long time and transported at lower cost? Does that affect the biochar we want to produce? So we've tested all of that, just trying to find a system. We just found out that this year this system of transport is crucial to make our business case solid and viable. If we are not able to collect enough grass within a short, or enough biomass within a short radius, basically the cost of carbon is much higher, longer transport, and the financial costs are not viable neither. This is what we do. Then when we collect the grass, this is the other system we look into. This is a biomass technology. We're lucky we got two local authorities here. One looking into the anaerobic digestion process, and Chris will be able to explain you a bit more about it. And the other one is looking into the pyrolysis and HTC system, which is a system of pyrolysis at lower temperature under water pressure. So we've tested that this year and we've got already a result on that. Now, that's being done in our process. We look into here. What we find out straight away, I was saying that the road veg we collect, is not sufficient. We will need to add next year some domestic green waste and highway tree pruning and all of that in order to bring more biomass in a shorter radius in order to make it more efficient for our system. So next year we're going into testing this one on as a business case, make sure that we've got the right data and it's valid and it's solid, moving forward. Now all the biochar we've been producing, some example here. You can see some are directly from grass and other one are from a mix of woody and biochar. They all are stable. Right, so where was I? I was at the biochar. We've been able to produce some biochar And next year we are looking into making some binder with the biochar. The idea of the biochar is simple. We transform a product that will be volatile carbon into a stable carbon, and we want to sequestrate for a long term. So we're looking for solutions that sequestrate for a long term. Okay, so essentially in road, but depending on the cost, is our biochar good quality, we may consider other options. Chris? I think we can move on directly to the next slide. I can explain. So this is what we have here. All our tests, what we've been testing into the material. That's the process 2. The cutting here. One of the advantages why we created this graph here is to explain how it works with when you cut the grass, basically, and you remove the grass, you reduce the nutrient in the ground, so that reduce the biomass, which in turn the biomass become more diverse. So instead of having those plants very luxurious, you more toward a meadow kind of style of plant. It has capacity to store more carbon in their root and transform. The biotop will be improving, all those elements, and it will reduce the need for maintenance. So this is all coming together into one solution, and hopefully we need to reduce the growth, and then we need to cut less of them, and that will be, the ultimate goal we want to achieve. Chris, next one. Right, this is our partner. Chris, do you want to explain a bit more about what we've achieved this year?
Yeah, so obviously, thanks JC, year one was spent, a lot of the time in year one, was spent on the procurement, bringing the partners on board, raising orders, setting up contracts, dealing with that side of the project, setting it up. We've already produced the year one report, so in terms of numbers, just to capture some of the main numbers, between both councils we cut 63 hectares of grass, equivalent of 88 football pitches. We did our carbon baseline of both highway services in both councils through FHRG, and that's all being reported on, is on the Live Labs website, being shared widely now. We spent, I think, £300,000 or £400,000 on each side of the each council on new mowers, new equipment. We bought a hook lift trailer and 3 containers in South Gloss, and three Iseki mowers, and West Sussex, obviously through Grass Techs, their contractor. They bought some Kubota mowers, which we've been trialling and monitoring and tracking ever since. We work with Plant Life to track the, as JC said, the changes in the verges themselves. So they've got 24 sample sites across both councils that Plant Life are monitoring for biodiversity and soil carbon. So they go out regularly and monitor those. When I say regularly, it's a couple of times a year or at most, because obviously the changes are quite gradual. We've engaged the project partners, 6 of those, and we've done EDI work as well on equalities and diversity in both councils, and there's more of that to come in year 3 as well. So year 2, what we most recently finished, we're about to produce the report into that Giles mentioned last week. All the Live Labs are going to be producing their year 2 reports soon. So we've scaled up to 87 hectares, equivalent to 121 football pitches. We continue to work on the experimental profiles of the different activities that we're involved in, again through FHRG. We keep monitoring the performance of the mowers and monitoring the costs of the cut and collect, and comparing the costs of cut and collect with cut and leave, and we're noticing there's quite a difference between the two, but we're not able to share the cost data just yet. But there is obviously a pattern emerging that we're seeing, and as I say, we're continuing to refine the measurement of carbon with the guidance of the FHRG and their carbon analyzer tool. So looking at how the different processes that are under test, how they compare, which are viable, which are less viable, and we're starting to see a few sort of headlines emerge from that. We've noticed that HTC isn't as viable as pyrolysis, and obviously working with the University of Nottingham on that aspect to look into those processes. So one of the main challenges we've had so far in South Gloss, we intended to commingle our grass collections with the food waste contract, but we've had an ongoing issue with the plant local to us, Genico, that takes all our food waste, they don't have the off-gen approval in place to commingle the food with the grass. So we've had to look at alternative options, and that's involved taking the grass on its own down to an AD plant in Somerset called Cannington Enterprises. So that was quite unexpected. We thought we'd be able to commingle from day one, but that's just not been the case. So we've had to be a bit flexible to work around that one. So that's a regulatory challenge. We've highlighted that to the DEPT and their Energy and Clean Growth Group are aware of the problem. But I don't think it's an easy nut to crack with that one, because it's quite obviously the regulations are what they are. It's going to take some time to break those down. Trial limitations has been an option in terms of scaling up. Obviously, we've got the day jobs of business as usual, the cut and leave process in both councils, and so it was only practically possible to scale up to a certain degree. So we've done that for year 2, and we'll continue that into day 3. And we've picked the areas we're working in quite carefully with engagement with the local boroughs and parishes, and so kept them on board all the time and kept them up to date with what we're doing. So we retain their support. And I guess the other main challenge has been data collection, because obviously we sort of stand and fall by the data that we've got, garbage in, garbage out. So we try to make sure that the data we've got is collected in a robust way and it's consistent. We can compare it between the 2 councils, go back and check it before we share it with anyone else. And obviously we're collecting the data in different ways. As Giles has said in the other room, South Gloss, we're the guilty ones with a paper-based system we still work with, whereas West Sussex have got Confirm asset management software. It's a little bit quicker to gather up all the data on mileage and fuel and labour, etc. that we're tracking. So that's an ongoing process, and we're continually looking at the data and how we record it and present it.
Okay, we can take question now. Anyone has got a question?
South Gloucestershire Council and West Sussex County Council are working together on a joint project called Greenprint that aims to manage selected grass verges and green spaces in a new way. In this innovative project, we are using new machinery to cut and collect grass from selected green spaces and highway verges where we would normally leave the cuttings on the ground. The cuttings are sent to energy from waste plants, where they are heated in a process called pyrolysis, or broken down by microorganisms in a process called anaerobic digestion. They are then used to create biochar, which can be used as an additive for asphalt road surfacing materials, and to make biogas, biomethane fuel for vehicles. On the ground, there are other benefits from the project too. Removing the cut grass reduces soil fertility, slowing the growth of nutrient-loving coarse grasses and giving wildflowers and finer grasses space to grow, creating better habitats for insects, birds and other animals. These trials are a good example of how South Gloucestershire Council and West Sussex County Council are looking to deliver environmental and financial benefits and help our ambition of being carbon neutral by 2030. Greenprint is a part of Adept Live Labs 2, a 3-year UK-wide £30 million programme funded by the Department for Transport and developed by the Association of Directors of Environment, Economy, Planning and Transport, ADEPT, that aims to decarbonise the local highway network.